$1,000 a starting salary for a St. Louis County police officer. Some are questioning that price. Took a look around at some of the other police officers' starting salaries. In Baldwin, $51,000. In Clayton, $57,000. Creve Coeur, $53,000. De Pere, $53,000. Florissant, $50,000. Frontenac, $52,000. Maplewood, $52,000. Richmond Heights, $50,000. St. Peter's, $50,000. Town and Country, $55,000. And St. Louis County, $48,000. Gabe Crocker with us, talking about the salary and what are your hopes? Are you hoping to sit down with Steve Stanger and sort of work something out? What do you want at all this?
I certainly want to take a step back, and I want to talk about things like starting salary. It's important that you consider the average salary of a St. Louis County police officer is right around $48,000. Now, it's a little higher than that, but when you talk about just police officers, see, I'm not factoring in the chief's salary, making $160,000 a year. It's a good salary. So that pulls that number up. The majority of our police officers make a little over $48,000, maybe $50,000. St. Louis City officers are making on average $53,000, $54,000, and that's because they've worked on this. They've spent time. Again, you don't have to like any of these people involved, but Mayor Slay got involved. Sam Dotson's been involved, Jeff Rorta, Joe Steiger, these guys from the police union down there. They got in the same room. They had legitimate discussion. They left the smoke outside, and they ironed out a plan to start working on police salaries. They got serious. They got things done. So we're very serious about getting things done and have been since Steve took office. But what we're not getting is the reception on the other end. And then so when we do start talking...
But you did give him credit for the salary a few years ago.
Well, it was actually it was early last year. And so, but here's the thing. You take what was about a 7% raise for officers. It made the problem of compression worse. Okay, we can deal with that. But now it's time to move to the next phase. And that's where we've kind of gotten lost. We just don't have enough money. You know, this county, McGraw, has been broke since 2008. But just on the horizon out your window here is the new $30 million courthouse renovation. We can afford anything we want. We can't afford anything anybody else wants. So whether it's tax increment financing for big businesses, whether it's special pet projects for county councilmen, and this is what we have to start doing. We have to start as people and as employees and as citizens of St. Louis County, we have to start calling these people out on the carpet. Yes, I get it. I'm not here to try to make every police officer in St. Louis County rich, okay? But I am trying to get them to earn a fair wage that is actually competitive with other agencies in this area. St. Louis County used to be a place where people came to work. It used to be the best place for the best people. Now it's an okay place for marginally acceptable people. And that's why people are leaving. They're going to the other agencies. McGraw, I've been a police officer for almost 15 years. I can leave tomorrow, go 4 miles out to St. Charles County, and take a $7,000 pay raise. That's experience. That's everything else that's going on, and people are doing it. And we've got over 25 police officers that have just recently applied to one agency alone. And I like to point out that we came out with a big fancy recruitment video. We don't need recruitment videos. We need to retain our employees.
Is it true that a number of those officers on that recruitment video are leaving?
That's my favorite story, because I go, well, these people are leaving. So you're paying all this money for a recruitment video, and I'm saying, why are we doing fancy recruitment videos? Just retain the folks you got.
So let's go back to the Panda Express example, because you're right. We're not trying to disparage one or the other.
No, absolutely not.
But if you want to become a police officer and you want to put your life on the line and you want to have to deal with maybe a possible Ferguson effect and make $48,000 a year, or become a manager at a Panda Express and not put your money or your life on the line every day and know you're going to come home every night to your family for the same price, what's the incentive to do one over the other? I would take Panda Express over being a police officer.
Sure, a lot of people would. And the point is that, again, we're not disparaging these folks that are in these jobs. That's not the point. The point is that when you're told you're going to make X amount of dollars per year and you're shown a top out, again, if folks go to STL today, they can see top out range, top out pay.
Right.
Nobody makes it. It looks good. It's hovering out on the horizon at 72,000. The only problem is nobody makes it. Nobody's ever made it because they don't give raises. They freeze the pay. They're broke. Think about the money. If you were to look at me and you were to say, Gabe should have been, I make about 54,000 right now. That's after about 15 years.
Right.
Okay. Now, I don't mind discussing that publicly because you can get online and find it. But if you were to think that I was supposed to be making about 65 by now under the actual what I was told I was going to make, and then you multiply that out over 5 to 10 years, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars that I haven't made because they can't afford to pay it.
Yeah. Why would a police officer want to become a police officer in St. Louis County and make $48,000 when they can go to Baldwin and make $51,000?
That's my point. This used to be the place that people wanted to come to. It was competitive. I mean, Steve Stenger can say whatever he wants all day long. He's dead wrong. And it would be a lot easier for me if he would just say, just tell the truth. Just say, I gave you something, go away. Instead, we're getting the lip service. Your number one priority, your number one priority. Then he goes to the Post-Dispatch and tells them to rank down in the top or the bottom 20 of law enforcement agencies in the St. Louis area is somehow competitive. That's not competitive. That's bogus.
Are you seeing police officers leave the St. Louis County Police Force because they're fed up with the things that have nothing to do with being a police officer,
that's
a.k.a. the Ferguson effect?
Yes, that's happening, but not to the degree that it's happening because of pay. What is happening are people and officers are selecting other agencies right around here, whether it is your Clayton, Richmond Heights, all of these other agencies they can go to. And you're talking about, McGraw, you're talking about immediate cash infusions of $4,000 to $10,000 for some of these places.
Right.
Who wouldn't take that? You have to. And so for us to, in St. Louis County, for our leaders to pretend that we're somehow competitive is a joke. And it's a ripoff not only to the employees, but to the taxpayers who are being told that the county's broke, when in actuality they're just hiding money in the budget.
But okay, so are you saying that police officers are leaving not necessarily for money, but for other things?
Yeah, every now and then you'll get some folks that will say, listen, this isn't for me.
Right.
We're always going to have attrition.
Well, right, you're always going to have people who...
Sure.
Right.
This isn't for me. We do have some people that have left because, you know what, the Ferguson thing just pretty much put the icing on the cake for them, and they said, that's it, I'm out.
Right.
I'm going to go do something else. They could say, but, you know, at the time, if they were to have left shortly after Ferguson, they would have taken a $5,000 to $6,000 pay raise to go work at the fast food restaurant. Right. Remember, this is a relatively recent fix, but it's not a long-term fix.
What about police officers getting into the business? In the newspaper, Christine Byers' story says that there are 10 vacancies in the St. Louis County. That seems like a pretty good number.
Well, I think it's very interesting because when that's not a good number, and you said, and I think it was Chief Belmer that mentioned we have 50 employees. The county has shortages all over St. Louis County. Again, I have rosters, I have schedules, I have all of this stuff to show major league disproportionate attention to unincorporated areas of St. Louis County. But what we see in the paper, by the way, this was an article about pay, and all of a sudden they're talking about staffing.
Right.
It's because they had an opportunity to slip in some protective quotes for themselves to actually kind of gloss over the fact that we're short, to gloss over the fact that we don't have anyone investigating auto crimes right now because we're so short. We put our entire auto crimes unit down on the MetroLink train. One of our most specialized units is a neighborhood enforcement team that was out doing really hard work, doing God's work with some of the most violent folks. We removed them from the street and put them onto the MetroLink train. So now what is happening? St. Louis County, unincorporated St. Louis County, pays the price because we don't have the manpower. McGraw, someone that's waiting to get into the police academy should not be counted as staff. Somebody that's in the police academy should not be counted as a police officer. For the first time in recent history, they're having to put 3 academy classes through in 1 year to deal with the shortages that we're having because people are leaving at such a click.
Wow. So you're saying the 10 that they're under is...
Yeah, it's bogus.
Is a lot more than that 10.
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, I got the rosters and scheduling to prove it. But what it is it's just, again, it's a numbers game. I've referred to it as sleight of hand. Look what I have in my right hand. Don't pay attention attention to what I have in my left hand. I said it yesterday.
So staffing problems because of pay,
sure.
but everything else. But collectively, being a police officer is much harder today than it was 5 years ago.
Sure, I mean, we're trying
Ferguson.
to raise the standards. St. Louis County has one of the worst educational opportunities for any employee to go back to school while they're working. There's an educational incentive.
Right.
I mean, ours was actually cut by the Dooley administration. St. Louis City pays excellent for their officers to go back to school. So we demand more of officers. We demand professionalism. We demand excellence. We demand more training. We want millions and millions of dollars worth of body cameras. We want all of these things. We want less shootings. I mean, very, very complicated, overarching issues, very big things that we need to talk about, yet we don't want to pay for it. We don't want to pay for it. We're broke unless it's a TIF, unless it's for executive staff and patronage jobs in an administration. Just the patronage jobs alone from Steve Stenger would pay for a fully integrated college reimbursement program or tuition reimbursement program for county government employees. But it's ignored because it's not on their agenda.
Never dull when Gabe Crocker shows up. Yeah. St. Louis County police officer.
Truth hurts, McGraw.
And St. Louis County Police Association president for the county. Gabe Crocker, always a pleasure. Be safe out there.
Thank you very much.
It's 950, Big 550, KTRS. Let me tell you about St. Louis Closet Company, because if you want to organize your world, St. Louis Closet Company. There's a bunch of New York Times best-selling books out saying that organizing your life is the way, organizing your house is the way to organize your life. I've been saying that for years. St. Louis Closet Company, 25 years ago, opened up a business. They don't get any tips. They don't get any special tax deals. Just 100% St. Louis made, 100% St. Louis custom closets manufactured right here in Maplewood. That's right. They're manufacturing jobs right here in St. Louis by a company that doesn't get any tips, doesn't get any special financing. It's called St. Louis Closet Company. So that's right. And Gabe Crocker is a proud owner of a St. Louis closet. So he doesn't have a Murphy bed because no one likes to sleep over at his house, but that's beside the point. He doesn't have any friends.
It's a whole other issue.
The point is, for you to get organized, stlouisclosetco.com is the website, 314-781-9000. I recommend their showroom so you can see everything they can do. 2626 South Big Bend Boulevard, just next to Manchester Road there, just north of Manchester Road. stlouisclosetco.com.
This is McGraw Live on KPLR 11.2, STLtoday.com, and the Big 550 KTRS.
You've been live.